What's going on, everybody? Welcome inside the Pallet House.
I hate puppies.
Brendan's gone.
Yeah, that's Leah right there. Troy's here. This is already weird because Brendan took the SD card that has the music. I think he's going to put it in on post, but we're just shooting from the hip here. We have Lee, Troy, and we got Stu over here. Say hey, Stu.
What's up, guys?
We got Dave.
Howdy.
And Adam.
Hello.
It's a full house.
Yeah, we got a full house.
Here.
Well,
Only need abandon Brandon and Brendan, and we're good.
I already forgot his name.
Yeah. What is it? My memory's fading.
That is something Dave does a lot. He calls Brendan Brandon, and I never correct him.
Really?
Yeah.
Fuck.
You haven't even had a whole beer.
That's awful.
No, it's obviously a slip of the tongue. Like, I don't think anybody takes it personally, but there's a Brandon that hangs out here too, so it's very, very confusing. So, yeah, you did it last time we were hanging out here. Now, just like
I think I need to be corrected. I think it's everyone's duty to correct when someone misspeaks like that.
Is he coming back? Is Brendan coming back?
Who?
Is that? Yeah. So we are going to try to do this. This is a historic first time. I mean, we've been doing this 8 or 9 years, Lee.
Coming up on 9, I think.
And
damn, it's been a long time.
We've missed a couple weeks in the 8 or 9 years, and we have never done one without Brendan. Brendan's taken this whole setup and various setups. He's taken it out of town, does podcasts. I've missed a few for various things. I try not to miss many. We've had a lot of different third mics here, which luckily I sent out the bat signal once I knew Brendan wasn't going to be here. Started a whole nother text thread and was like, if you've been on this podcast, please come. I'm going to need your help. And 4 of the guys showed up, so that worked out. We're doing it on a Sunday night. You'll be hearing it on a Sunday night, so we're a week early. But first, we have to point out, just how much Brendan brings to this thing, because we are 2 minutes and 7 seconds, and I feel like we've been doing this for a full 20 minutes already.
Well, thinking about like the lead up to this too, all the setup and finding things. Like,
oh yeah,
I like just showing up here and everything's already set out, and I don't have to think about anything. Like,
well, if we break the fourth wall, we're fucking running around like crazy people because the SD card. Stu had to go buy an SD card because Brendan took the SD card with him out of town. We couldn't get to work. I'm texting Adam and Lee, who are on the way over. Like, everybody's freaking out. Brendan was walking Stu was walking out of the door to go buy another SD card, even though he just bought a $50 one because it wouldn't format. We're calling Brendan. So even on a night Brendan's not here, we're interrupting him and having him involved in the podcast. So he didn't even get tonight off fully. So, let's apologize for that.
But knock on wood, grace of God, Dave finds 2 random SD cards sitting
behind the bar.
Leading up to all this is the SD card. Yeah. We got what the hell? And then Dave just says, oh, look here, right beside the bar on top of the kegerator, we got 2 SD
a foot from where I stand all the time. I didn't know they were there.
I thought for sure coming in that it was going to be World War III in here. Everybody freaking out and Troy in full meltdown panic mode, which I've seen before. It was not pretty.
I was getting there.
He was 80-20.
I was going down. I throw my hands up. I threw the headset down. I was sitting on the couch pouting.
Picked up drinking.
I was like, I'm going to start drinking again. Because I was like, I've asked these 4 guys to come over here. Like, Brendan's like, well, I'll be back in town for a brief moment tomorrow. I can drop the SD card off and y'all can. And I'm like, not asking these guys to come back out in the middle of the week. Like, everybody's here. We're going to fit it in, goddamn it, some way or somehow. Yeah, Dave saved the day.
For all that Brendan does do for the podcast, he shit the bed on this one.
He did.
Why did he take an SD card with him?
That was
Did
intentional.
he trust you? Like, that feels like he very much was like, I don't think this is going to work the way it's going to work.
I have all the secrets.
So I did reach out to him today because I was like, when are we going to do it? And we decided today, and I was like, I think he's out of town, but I don't know, like, if his family is or, who's here. So I was like, I didn't want all of us to roll up in here. So I was like, is anybody going to be there? I was like, I'm planning on doing the podcast. And he's like, oh, shit, y'all are going to do it. He's like, you really going to do it? Yeah. He didn't think we were going to do this. So
that's what I'm saying. He didn't have trust.
So we haven't warned the family. So if the police show up, there's randoms in the backyard.
He told the family. So when the 5 random dudes walked past your house into the bar. But no, he's gotten into this habit, and he waited till today to put the podcast out. So he took the SD card with his computer out of town.
I see.
That makes sense.
I guess we'll let him live that.
Well, again, let's not pick on Brendan, even though he's usually our number one target. And I just want to say, Brendan, thank you for taking the lead on this. You started this. We're coming up on, like Lee said, 9 years of doing this, and it was something you and Pat talked about. I immediately was like, dude, I went in on that, and it's been fun, man. It's been a great time, and he fronts the most of the money. 95% of the money he pays for this out of his pocket. He buys most of the delis. We all chip in here and there. The guests drop some stuff off, which is nice. It's at his house. He does it. He leads it. He really keeps this train running. And I know we kick the shit out of him because he's an easy target, but we love him, and we couldn't do it without him. That's for sure. So I know the listeners appreciate it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm somebody that came from the outside, as a listener and met you guys obviously through M4K, and certainly very lucky and thankful to that you guys have opened your arms to my inclusion from time to time. And
dude, Lee was the first real one. He was the first one we met out in the open. He was like, "Are you the M4? Are you the Pout House?" I was like, "What podcast am I?"
George has so many podcasts.
He's so nervous right now leading this.
Organizations, and we were at the Stash Bash, and Lee's like, "Are you guys the Pout House guys?" I was like, "You're a listener. Holy shit! Every other listener I know is like." Someone that you
forced to listen to, or lives in your house.
No, we've talked about that. Like the closer you are to me, the more likely you're not to listen. But I tend to know most of the listeners. So
I mean, that's the thing. I remember distinctly standing at that Stash Bash and just hearing the voices. That was talking
wild.
Behind me, and it's like these guys sound familiar. And I had never seen a picture of you guys or anything, and I didn't know what you guys look like.
There's a reason.
Yeah, face for radios. And
I think
all that.
we had shirts on.
Yeah, you did, which certainly helped, obviously.
How long ago was that?
That would have been 2017.
Yeah,
I think. Nice. So 7 years.
It was awesome.
But yeah, it like I said, you guys have been very welcoming. Whether it's hosting people here for watch football on the weekends, coming out to the podcast, you guys jumping in feet first for M4K and being involved there, being such a huge catalyst there. It's been awesome, and I am very thankful for y'all's friendship and also y'all's commitment to doing good in the community. And
well, us meeting you, Lee, we were riding high. Like actually meeting a fan that wasn't like an acquaintance, I was like, holy cow, they're real. Like that must be what real podcasters and radio hosts and stuff feel like.
Yeah.
So but it's been awesome, man. Glad you could make it out tonight. Thank you for heeding the signal.
Of course, man. Happy to.
Hey, Lee, do you recall how you found the podcast?
I do. RVA Mag put out an article around that time listing the best local podcast, something like that. And I was getting their weekly emails.
Nice.
And we had the guy on a few times.
He had been on the week before or something like that. And
that's when they were categorized. They were categorized under sports.
Yeah.
It's we're so far from that now.
And so, I mean, it's a weekly newsletter email. I didn't read them half the time, and just happened to read it that day and listen to it. And every single podcast that they had on that email, I listened to, and this was the one that was like, oh, this is pretty funny. And then
and you got your coworkers into it and stuff. It was going around the office, dude. It was awesome.
Yeah, but it was 2 weeks later is when you had Big Rich on, and that one was I was literally sitting at my desk rolling, and I was like, these guys are ridiculous.
Yeah. See, so Lee's the old school listener for the uninitiated. We were getting guests on back in the day all the time, and Brendan was a huge part of that. And we would try to get a different guest on every week, which just got to be so hard. When you're doing a weekly podcast, it's just an insane amount of work.
Right. Then Dirt Woman shows up.
Exactly. we did have, and Brad from RVA Mag was one of the characters. He was wide open, dude. When we came, I think the first time he was on was 10 o'clock on a Sunday morning, and he was doing shots and just getting after it, dude. And he lived in the city. We're like, dude, we're out in the suburbs. It's 9 a.m. What are you doing, man? But he was a hoot, man. He was fun.
Yeah, y'all had some good ones there, and obviously COVID changed the game for everybody. But I mean, the fact that you guys persevered through that, and y'all were doing the phone calls for a while, or Zoom. I don't remember exactly how it was set up for a while there.
That was awkward.
Y'all persevered through a lot, and I know there's been lots of times where you guys have been like, all right, we've had a good run. Let's throw in the towel. And
like now.
Exactly. Like this past week, I'm sure.
This is official.
But no, you guys have pushed through, and it's been a lot of fun to see you guys on this journey as your lives have changed, and as you've grown into older fathers and made new friends and gotten more involved in things in the community. It's been great to see.
Well, in reality, the guys that, everybody standing around here, y'all are part of the reason it's lasted so long, because if it was always just Brendan and I, like, we would have ended it a long time ago. So, like, Lee's like, oh, I'll come on. And we're like, shot in the arm, same with Adam, same with Dave, same with Stu, like, same with Ely, all these guys that are like, I want to get in, and then y'all get in, and then you guys start to realize, holy crap, it's a lot. Like, it really is. Like, and I say it's a lot, and again, 95% give the credit to Brendan, because now that you're all, are inside, you see how little work the five here we do.
We give him a hard time about being a producer, but I mean, he does pull all the strings.
Yeah.
He keeps everything on track. He keeps the time flowing.
I keep
keeps the
checking this
conversation.
board. I'm like,
yeah.
Is it recording?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
I was gonna say that. I mean, you checked the first box and making sure the thing was recording.
Breaking
to
the
start,
fourth wall.
We're doing great.
Troy hasn't taken his eyes off the board.
He's
glued to it.
Like, most nervous I've ever seen Troy.
I'm like usually on my phone, half listening to what everybody's saying.
Oh yeah, how's it going, Brendan?
We're missing a bunch. We have 9 sound things here, and we're missing most of them. I don't even know which ones work. Let's do a test to see which ones work, because we just found this out. Some of the sound effects run with the SD card.
Okay.
Little known fact. Let's see what we got here.
That's a good one.
That one should always be around.
That's the stew.
How about this one? Hi, Poppy.
That's a new one.
That came on that SD card?
yeah, that was this is SD
Preloaded.
special.
There you go.
The
That's
party
Dave's.
one.
That's your one. You
Love that one.
Yeah.
Right now.
Oh, and the so that's what we're working with.
You're doing some post editing on this one and turning that hotness down a little bit, right?
Yeah, like that's in the ear.
Back to who does all the work. Brendan will have to. So poor Brendan, who is finally not doing a podcast, will have to come back home at some point, take the SD card out of here, run it through the editor, and post it on all the hosting channels.
Yeah.
So even on his day off that we've
Still-
called him on
still
and bugged
grinding.
him, he will still have to come and finalize this, because I don't know how to do it. He did show me once on a trip to, I don't even know, we were going to South Carolina or somewhere, and he had to edit it in the car, and we took the 4Runner without the top, and I'm like, he's like glancing over while I'm on his laptop, like trying to edit it, which I've never done. He's like walking me through it. He's like, and now you know how to edit it. And I'm like, I didn't take in any of that, dude. None of it.
No information.
Yeah.
It's interesting you talk about COVID, because I think that's shortly before that is when I started listening to podcasts, after I got to meet Troy. And not knowing Brendan at all, listening for like a couple of years, and then showing up and meeting him, it was weird because
You feel like you already know him. Yeah.
So then you get here and you get to talk to him, and he's talking to you like he has no idea who you are.
So Adam,
First he's like, this is so weird. Like, why is this guy acting like he knows? Because
Yeah.
you've listened to this guy for years.
in your head, Adam, what did Brendan look like to you? Because you hear people and you get this idea like, oh, they look like this probably, but then you read.
I think
it,
I
you're like,
told Troy this once, but I can't remember what I said back then.
I don't remember.
But I remember when I first met him, it was not what I expected.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It was. Yeah. When I finally saw a picture, I was like, oh, that's what he looks like.
Yeah.
It is a strange concept with podcasts and or celebrities or whatever else.
Yeah.
Like this idea that people know who you are or know your life simply because they listen to a podcast. And I know you guys have talked about it before.
For sure.
And there's oftentimes sitting around on the weekends, it's like, did you and I talk about that in person? Did we talk about it on a
Yeah,
podcast? Did
forget
we tell
about it all the
everybody
time,
about it?
yeah.
Like, you lose track of what your kind of boundaries are when you have those kinds of conversations.
I
It's
would
very
just like to
interesting.
state for the record that I'm playing a character. So, from all my past ones and any future ones are not me at
That's
all.
you. That's not you.
Not me at all.
Not
Yeah.
you. Okay.
It's funny though, because when I would see Troy on the baseball field, I'd start talking about some of the podcasts. Be like,
Yeah,
did I tell you?
exactly.
Like, how do you?
Exactly.
And then you'd be
Yeah.
like, oh,
That's the strangest thing. Like friends I worked with when I was doing this kind of part time for a while with you guys, and then I'd go home or go back to the office and be talking to people, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we know." It's like, wow, how do you know this? Like, it's a very very strange.
Yeah, it had
feeling.
to happen this past Christmas. Ran into an old fraternity brother at a party I hadn't seen in a couple of years, and he's like, "It's like, what you been up to, man?" He's like, just doing this and that, but I know everything you've been up to." Like,
Yeah.
you would.
That's
You would
crazy.
know. 'Cause Alex, hey Alex, I know you're listening.
So I had the same thing happen to a guy at work. Like same thing. He started listening to the podcast. So
Oh, did he? Nice.
Yeah. So then the next day I came in, he said something. I was like, "What are you talking?" Oh, okay. Now it makes sense.
I haven't seen you in a while. How do you know all these things?
I have to prep my wife before she listens. I'm like, I'm going to say a few things that might be a little dodgy, but
It's all in good fun.
you know I'm not misogynistic. I was just playing a character.
How did the
I won't touch that one.
how did last week's topic go over? I was listening to it today, and I was like, oh yeah, we did the whole.
Is that the one that just I haven't listened to the one that came out today?
Yeah.
I have not listened to
Yeah, I
it
got
yet.
punched in the face.
Oh,
By Troy?
yeah.
That's for the listeners.
Not good.
Yeah, we did the for you two who probably haven't listened to this week's. We talked about how marriages should be on 7-year contracts. And
Oh, I
should
did listen to that one.
You should renegotiate. Oh no, that was 2 weeks ago.
That was
I'm
2 weeks. I
sorry.
did listen to that one. Yeah,
I'm
that was
a week
good.
behind.
Got it.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, I'm like, I know my wife's a listener. Is she gonna murder me in my sleep now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you got to know your people. You know, and how
Yeah.
far you can go, and also, do they listen?
We're obviously making jokes, and honestly,
Yeah.
I still stand. I said it all. I stand by. That would be a bad thing.
Right.
Everybody.
Yeah.
You did.
I think we all kind of. Brendan was going a little crazy with it, but I think
He
Dave
went
and I
happy,
were
yeah.
on the same page. Like, I think this is going poorly for most guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
Yeah.
Well, I think. All right, we're gonna veer off topic already. So
This is
they-
great.
They talk about
that's number one topic. Is you're off topic.
Oh, yeah.
Stay off topic.
we veered. So then like when guys want an open relationship, right? And they're in a monogamous relationship, and they say, "I want an open relationship," and the expectation is that they both are going to go out and get whatever they get, whatever
Yeah.
else. And then the reality is, nobody fucking
Yeah.
wants a man. Like nobody wants
Nope.
that.
Nope.
Yeah.
A woman is always going to be desirable, and so I think the idea of a 7-year
That's why-
renewal is like horrible.
Yeah.
No agent would ever advise you to do this.
No.
Like you have something.
The
You have
only
best
guy that says I want an open relationship already has that locked down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
which that person shouldn't then be in a monogamous relationship.
Exactly. No dude's like, I'm gonna go test the waters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want the long-term contract with the small payout. Like, I don't need to like test the waters every few years. Like, I'm good.
Yeah, that's a wild choice that people want to make that.
They did a whole movie on that Hall Pass. They're like,
Oh, yeah,
the guys
yeah,
are like,
right.
all right, we're gonna go get laid there like a fucking TGI Fridays, drinking all the margaritas, like
Tucked in polos into the
Yeah.
khakis.
Not
Like, why is this not working?
They should be flocking to me.
And I mentioned it too. I was like, all the dads I know think they're amazing. All the husbands I know think they're pretty amazing. Like, we would totally like. We'd be puffed up at year 7, like, haha, she's going nowhere. And then she'd have 4 suitors before she even got out the driveway.
We were watching a movie this weekend with my daughter who's back for spring break, and there was some actor I don't remember who, and she's like, "Hey, Dad, could Mom have a hall pass with that guy?" And I was like, "No, absolutely not."
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that guy would probably do my wife. and
Hey, what do I get in return?
right, you could give me a hall pass for anyone, and they'd be like, "No thanks."
Thank you.
Yeah. Like, so in this theory, my wife sleeps with a good-looking celebrity, and I can't sleep with a cafeteria worker. Why would I sign up for that? Like, that's
Not fair.
Yeah, it seems like a great idea until you try to
Yeah.
get it to move forward.
So
Yeah, I brought up that whole topic because they were talking about the financial side of it. They were trying to say, okay, it'll save on divorce court and all this other stuff. I mean, it didn't pass when they brought it up over in Germany, but it was like, I didn't even think about it on the scope that we're talking about. On the, the reality side
Yeah,
of it is
yeah.
this is not.
God
going to
forbid
work.
we be rooted in reality over here.
Exactly.
Never at the Pallet House.
Jeez.
So,
Well, and we talked about, and I think we kind of all agreed there at the end. It was like it made sense that like we should read the contract a little better, right?
there should be more upfront.
But when you're in love, you're
Information,
in love, dude.
right.
You're not gonna get anybody.
Yeah.
It's like if you love a certain car, you're gonna buy that car. You don't care what it costs. You don't care if it's a piece of crap and it's gonna break down in 2 years. Like, I want that car.
Mm-hmm.
How about imagine
are we
that
talking
car
about?
is
We're talking about Brendan, right?
Brendan has never met a car he didn't want.
He's
right?
never met a thing that he doesn't
Yeah,
want, that he
exactly.
doesn't get.
How about when you're selling a car? Have you guys
Oh,
seen that
yeah.
Carvana commercial?
With
I don't think I have.
Kristen Bell and Dax. Yeah, they do. They have a couple of them that are pretty damn annoying.
Well, I get the whole, commercials need to get your attention and illogicalness is fine, if that's even a word. You know, it gets attention. You start talking about it. However, I've been streaming a lot of sports, and they have this new commercial out, and it's basically they've got a 6-year-old minivan, and they want to sell it, and
That's a disbelief right there.
Right,
Like
right.
I'm believing those two
right.
are driving a 6-year-old minivan. Yeah, okay.
And Dax is like, we've been holding on to this for 7 months. Should we sell it now? And she's like, hold. And like it's a like she's Billy,
it's a
like it's
stock.
Billy Ray
Yeah.
Valentine in Trading Places.
Yeah,
Doesn't make any.
Timely reference.
exactly.
I'm old,
It's a great movie. That's a great movie.
but the whole like this is a first world problem. She is and Carvana are telling you to hold on to a depreciating asset for
Yes.
7 months, and it's a minivan. It's not a Ferrari. It's not a Jeep Wrangler. It's not a fun toy that fluctuates.
You
with
know, the
springtime.
minivan where there was one of 8 made, right? Oh no,
Yeah.
no, they're everywhere.
And Dax is on there going, "Hey, our car just depreciated another
Again.
3%." She's like, "No, hold!" I'm
Yeah,
like,
it's-
"What the bitch? Sell that fucking car!"
As we said, we're not a misogynist podcast. But so,
It's just horrible advice. Like,
It is.
I get the whole wittiness, that's fine, but are they giving you advice like, "Hey, even though your car is going to be worth several $1,000s 7
Less.
months from now, maybe you want to hold on to it because Kristen Bell says you should."
well, see, I think that's interesting because you listen to podcasts where they talk about financial advice, or they have people who are financial providers or planners, and they always have to have the disclaimer, right? This is not financial
Yeah,
advice.
yeah, yeah.
Do
This
your
is-
own research.
oh, but
yada,
that
yada,
It's
yada.
not on that
But yeah,
commercial.
in this case, wouldn't that kind of be like, hey, we think that your minivan, while yes, it is a depreciating asset, but we're anticipating there's going to be a real run on minivans in 6 months, and we think you should hold on
You're
to it.
exactly right. There should be small print that says.
And I wonder if it is maybe
probably is in the
there, but
commercial.
like that's a strange take for any company to be willing to take on and be like, yeah, we're going to tell you to hold on to this thing.
Well, especially a company that buys cars and sells cars. Like, you may not want to sell it to us yet. Why don't you
I was
wait
gonna-
several months?
That's the other thing. They're
and-
making money, like either way. Like,
Well, and talk about first world problems. The commercial started off by saying we have 9 cars.
Right.
Oh, you're in my same situation, right?
I always think about in that commercial, the whole commercial, like there's a team of executives of like 20 sitting around a conference table, and they're like, okay, she said hold for the 6th time in the 6 different location. Do you think that gets the... No, we need one more in a yoga setting. Okay, let's go
Right.
back and reshoot it. Like,
If I'm on that board, I'm like, why are we going to tell these people not to sell their car to us for
Yeah.
several months? Like,
Yeah.
I would act.
I got a lot of questions about
I think
this.
we
This
put
doesn't-
more thought into this commercial than the people that made
it makes
the
me
commercial.
very upset. I'm very upset.
Do you talking about? And again, I'm veering off topic because you said something that made me think of it. But the
Squirrel.
executives like sitting around a room and okaying things,
Yeah.
right? Have y'all seen the Major League Baseball uniforms? The changes
Oh,
with those?
yeah.
Oh, the see-through pants.
Yes.
Yes.
Talk about people
What?
not sitting in a room and being like,
I
"Hey,
know.
man, this doesn't look right."
Wait, back up. See-through pants? I haven't heard
So
this.
they're
Why?
not okay. They're not clear, obviously,
But-
but yeah,
Yeah,
they,
now Stewart is really a big baseball fan.
Stu's like, "Oh, I
I
got
don't
to
want to see anything.
Why is he tapping his fingers together? Excellent.
I can see the jockstrap lines. This is great.
But anyway,
Peace out.
Nike is making the uniforms. They started making them a couple years ago, and they partner with Fanatics, who
Yes.
makes all of their uniforms. But the pants are so thin in material that they do appear see-through in some things, where you can see the jersey tucked in
Yeah.
through the pant line. The jerseys are changed. They're no longer like embroidered on patches. The lettering isn't embroidered
Yeah.
on. The lettering on the back for the names has gotten so small, and it's such a drastic change
It's
from what
really
is
cheap looking.
a very
Right.
classic and like traditional uniform, sport.
So they're putting women's leggings on the guys.
I mean, some players already do wear like skin tight ones as it is.
Yeah.
Like,
So the NFL has Taylor Swift bringing in a bunch
Yeah.
of female fans.
Yeah.
MLB's like, we need wet pants content.
Yeah. And there are some pictures out there where like you can see dudes
you can see
outline.
some
Wow.
pretty significant
Yeah.
outlines on things. But again, just when a jersey is tucked in and they're doing these like
Yeah, yeah.
official photo shoots,
It
it's like
it looks like the
one,
pants
what
are
team,
two-tone.
Yeah, what team is letting this go out as like your official media? Two, what agent for the player is letting this happen?
It's
Is
the
this-
Met- it's the
executives
Mets.
for Fanatics. Why aren't they saying like, "Yo, this doesn't look good for us"?
But this is something that MLB is pushing on the teams, or is it
Yeah,
something
they
that
have
they're
no say in
trying
it.
during
No,
like
yeah.
the
Probably
spring?
partnership with Fanatics.
These are
Nike,
your
yeah.
uniforms.
It's all
These are what
financial.
you wear.
Fuck.
Yeah, they don't have a choice.
Yeah.
Because some of the best looking uniforms are when they kick back 30, 40 years
Yeah, some
and
of
go a
the
little bit
throwbacks are
baggier.
fantastic,
yeah.
You know, socks are up,
Yeah.
pants are tucked in just below the knees. Like,
We used to do in high school. We would do a Greg Maddox Day at the Diamond, is what we would call it. And we take our pants, which all had like the elastic bottoms, and you pull them up to like mid calf.
Yeah.
and you just rock them right there. We always had fun with that.
Well, it's baseball. It's not basketball where you need like you're not running track.
Yeah.
Like you don't need performance athletic wear. Like they used to play in wool and wear belts and like
Well,
they wear a
They
hat.
are still wearing belts, and that's
I
the
know,
thing.
but I'm saying like
the-
it's not. You don't need it to be, but so breathable. It doesn't need to be.
I've played in some very heavyweight jerseys in my time, and there doesn't make a difference when you get those nice Nike dry fit ones.
Yes.
And I'm sure that the material is lighter, thinner, better, more breathable, and they
Yes.
probably want that in July in Chicago. Here for it.
Yeah.
Do your thing. But I mean, you can't make pants so thin as
Yeah.
like a baseline that they're
It's-
practically see through. Like,
it
what are we
just seems
doing?
crazy. Like they do all the major sports and even, you know, companies, you do something that's innovative and it turns out great and you just don't stop. They keep pushing forward because the time clock, I think has made baseball great as far as the timeline. You're not getting into the 7 hours games. There's a pitch clock. It's all, and you're just rolling through it and the guys are doing, but it's like, hey, leave it there. You got a good thing. Now we're going to change the uniforms up. We're going to do all this crazy
Yeah,
stuff.
it sucks that it's a cost saving measure, but at the end of the day, I mean, I think people are drawn to baseball for the romanticism of it a lot more than they are like what the uniforms look like. There are people that have always been a fan of a team, and they're always going to be, and that's not going to change. And yeah, some of the throwback uniforms are great.
Those uniforms would be a problem if we weren't rocking 8K TVs with like the
that's a big part of
they
it.
zoom in on like
right.
the guy like
Yeah,
the
into their
pitcher
pores,
spitting,
yeah.
blowing snot rockets and like you on your 80-inch television.
I mean, it's really all about money because they're going to make these jerseys and they're bad, whatever, but there'll be a New Jersey next year. Like,
Yeah.
that's the
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
Like, they want to sell a New Jersey every single year. And then in the same season, they'll even have 2 and 3 other jerseys.
Oh
they'll sell
yeah,
that same season.
that's
So
what it's all about.
It's clearly a partnership with Manscaped.
Exactly.
It might be.
There's going to be a whole set of commercials during those games.
Yeah, it might be.
That's hilarious.
oh, he's not circumcised.
I was waiting for that
Did
one.
not know that.
That's too
Weird, but yeah, it's gonna be something.
I'll be curious to see whether they get enough pushback that they'll eventually give players a little more
I
option.
did hear that some some players and/or teams were wearing the old pants
Yeah.
in spring training. They're like,
Well, a lot of the
yeah, I don't need the
a lot of the players also have complained that the pants are less customizable than they used to be. Like you used to be able to do, I want a straight leg so it's baggy. I
Yeah.
want a tight skin tight
A
one. I want
knicker.
a taper. I want
Yeah.
something that I can pull up to my kneecaps. You know, so a lot of the players have complained about it, but I think they're going to work around it one way or another. It was a surprising move that everyone shows up to spring training and hey, here's your see-through jerseys and pants. Like, have fun.
Well, what all of spring training's down in Florida for the most part, right?
And
there's-
Arizona.
Yeah,
Arizona and
Arizona's-
Florida.
Yeah, the grapefruit down. in,
Grapefruit and
Florida,
Cactus
and
League.
Cactus, yep.
But Adam and I our kids play baseball together, and we've been coaching in years past and stuff. And we bought some jerseys that were pretty thin. They were like perforated with holes
Yeah.
all through
All
them.
through the
Like
back.
you could, and the kids loved them.
Yeah.
The kids did love them.
Yeah.
Well, because you're out there in 100-degree heat in July.
Yeah.
You want something that is not going to like weigh you down and just,
Yeah.
the sweat just evaporates off of it, which was a big deal for them.
How old are your kids?
Our
Our
boys are
boys are
14.
almost 14. Oh yeah, yours is 14. Mine's almost 14.
Just questioning the performance advantage of 12-year-olds.
Oh,
No, it's not about
Yeah.
performance
Yeah.
advantage. It's more just like them how much they're going to
Hey,
sweat.
look good,
how
feel good,
heavy
play
it's-
good. That's
Yeah.
what my coach always said.
and you're not wrong. Like we've been on some bad teams where like, oh shit, this half an inning was 35 minutes and they were in the sun,
Baking
just
in the sun that whole
cooking.
time. It's
Like-
miserable. When we were down in Myrtle Beach a few years ago, and it was literally 100 degrees on like turf with no shade.
Yeah.
They were just sitting out there baking.
And it's not like you have a clubhouse behind you where you can go into the air conditioning or like
You're just out
you know,
there
you can
all
pack your
day.
little cooler with your ice packs, but you
Yeah,
ain't
that
got
was
much
it.
else.
No, believe me, you're right, Dave. These
Yeah.
are not
no
performance,
performance
enhancers.
advantage. No comfort
like-
advantages.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like keep them from getting us pissed off. Like that's what we're going for here.
Make them want to
it's
continue to
not run
play.
faster, jump higher. Like it's like let's bring the misery index down just a little bit.
Fuck them kids.
They're just passing out. Boom. Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets pretty bad out there.
Yeah. It's not fun. I definitely played some of those summer ones where you can't escape it.
Well, I think we were in a game a few years ago where we were beating this team so bad that the umpire came over to us and was like, hey, we're just going to end this inning right now. We're going to let the other team hit for 6 straight outs just to get this game over with.
Yeah.
The rolling clock in baseball, basically.
Yeah.
The other manager looked at us all mad, but then he's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's weird. There's a lot of bad baseball out there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Bad youth sports.
Now, David said something earlier, made me think of it, but were any of you baseball card collectors?
I got into it a little bit late. My parents didn't allow me to have anything nice or buy anything. So I was getting everyone else's old cars that they didn't like. And the years, I guess, well,
The worst years.
Yeah, I was going to say
The
I
early
was
90s?
Yeah, I was in the early 90s.
Late 80s.
Late 80s, yeah. Mhm.
Late 80s, I remember the 92 Dunruss that that I was 14, so that was in my age group, but that was the worst time to collect. Well, and it was huge, but they made a gajillion cards.
Right.
So I never had anything cool.
Well, it made me think of it because I was reading an article about some baseball card that sold for a ton of money and how that has just stood the test of time, baseball cards. But then all these other collectibles, people bought thousands of these things
I watched
and are
the
sitting on so much
documentary.
money of just wasted. Think of Beanie Babies, how big those were, and people have spent all this money on it, and they're worth nothing.
I watched
now.
a documentary that's the complete total opposite of what you just said.
Really?
Back then, when they started, when it really hit the boom, and they started realizing, they started pressing out all these cards, and people didn't know they had. And a lot of those cards you think are valuable now aren't nearly as valuable as if you had sold them back in the prime. I don't know. Thank God I didn't bank on it.
Post-COVID is when they shot back up.
You mean
Yeah.
newer cards?
Correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that
at
was
the same time, post-COVID, everything
Yeah.
potentially collectible skyrocketed.
You know what else has skyrocketed as collectible? Groceries.
That's not a collectible. That's an
That's
expendable.
Yeah, they are
perishable.
perishable.
Yeah, because I
that's
love
right.
that one, it's that one picture scene from Home Alone, and they're like, Kevin's groceries today would have cost him $700. He's got 4 or 5 things.
Yeah, the $20 he rounded up.
Isn't
wasn't gonna
inflation
get
down now? It doesn't seem like the prices are coming
Well, the
down.
Home Alone house is multi-million dollars
yeah.
in Chicago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
That they sell their cars on Carvana and Whole.
They're willing to ride it out.
Yeah.
They follow the Kristen Bell advice.
That's right.
Well, speaking of collectibles, I was helping my mom. So for 4 years, she's had a storage unit. She had moved out of her apartment, moved in with my brother, and we put a lot of her stuff in the storage unit. And I was like, shit's been in there for 4 years. If it's not sentimental and you haven't used it, let's go through it, get rid of it, or do whatever. So we
You
go through
wasted at least $5,000.
Oh yeah, and
on storage.
and what the cause of it was they started hiking up the
rate.
monthly rate, and it was going up every year a little bit, but then they just all of a sudden went big. So we're going through there, and she has an original 1949 or 50, I can't remember which year it is, but it's the original Barbie doll, and it was already worth $3,000, but because of the movie and the new sensation, went back on. I think it's up another $8,000.
Wow.
So it's like
You gonna sell
anybody, she's putting it on eBay or somewhere.
No.
She's talked to a collector.
Here's what
somebody.
you
She's
do.
done a couple things, but
Mom, you misplaced that. You don't remember.
Or just keep telling her to hold.
We looked at
hold. There you go.
old.
My buddy Dave says hold.
Dave says hold.
Stuart's going to replace it with his blow up doll.
This is not financial advice.
This Barbie smells funny.
Yeah.
I don't remember her mouth looking like that.
God.
That's actually pretty cool though that y'all found that.
But yeah, no, I had always known she'd had it, and it was somewhere, and she's had a couple of things. She's got, and
I assume in the box and everything.
yeah, it's in the box. It's the original.
Wow.
I've always wondered,
all
like
that
the
stuff.
is it foresight that people were like, I'm not going to take this out of this
Right.
box back
How do you
in.
know? How do you
whenever.
know that's going to be a hit?
Exactly. You're telling
She
me that
just-
some kid in I don't know how old your mom was in 49
So,
or 50.
yeah, she
or
was
whatever.
20.
Okay. No, so all right. So
40,
a young adult had the foresight to be like, I'm not going to open
Teens,
this out of the
15,
box. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, no, I mean, she's missing one small.
Or is it just dumb luck? You know.
I think with her, I think it was more of she didn't play with it. It was the Barbie. She got it, and the one that
She bought it
has,
for Stu and forgot to give it to him.
It's it's the ones.
Thought he was going to
There's
be a
that
girl.
Christmas gift I got for little Stuart.
We should have called him
Stuanna.
Stuella.
The mouth isn't right on this one.
But
It's way too big. No, it's like Star Wars and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like
I
that we
played
play
with-
with Hot Wheels and stuff. Like if we kept all that crap in the packaging, we'd all be retired. Now.
I can't think of a single thing that as a kid that I had as a toy that I was like, nah, I'm going to put this aside.
Yeah, yeah.
I think
I've got
the
a
most
feeling,
shocking of that is
Even-
I saw like a first pressing of Super Mario Brothers from the original Nintendo, shrink wrapped, and I can't remember the dollar amount, but who the fuck is like, you know what? This is a video game. I need to hold on to
Right.
this
Yeah.
Yeah.
and not open it and not play it. Like I get a doll or a Matchbox car. You might
Yeah.
be that person who's like, I'm just gonna admire it from afar.
Well, it does
Right.
look kind of cool on a wall
Right,
or on a
right.
shelf.
Yeah.
You can just be like,
But who's hanging up? Who's 13 and
game
is
box,
hanging
right,
up a
yeah.
I spent all my money on that. Now I'm going to hang it on the
Meanwhile-
wall.
especially the technology behind it. Like,
Right.
yeah, the
There was some
reality
rich
of it
kid
is
that got a bunch of them and was like, oh,
yeah.
because the reality of it is I've got Luke Skywalker inside the General Lee with a M80,
Exactly.
and I'm launching
Right.
it off the dirt.
Yeah.
fighting,
I'm not sure.
fighting Optimus Prime over here. Like,
I didn't do. Yeah,
I don't know. I think like I was growing up when Beanie Babies kind of came out, and you could get them at the McDonald's
Dude,
and
those
everything
were
else, right? Like,
crazy, dude.
And
It
even
was.
at that time, I was like, I'm getting this thing from fucking McDonald's. Like,
Yeah.
this thing can't
Oh,
be
but
worth
the-
shit.
What's the value
those
here?
the glasses, the McDonald's actual glasses that had the
I have a
characters
couple
on.
of those.
Those are actually, if you got them in decent shape, those have something value. And
Yeah,
I
they're
think
covered in lead paint. It's fantastic.
didn't take a drink out of it. It's just-
I bought
This is
a
not
couple of
drinking
those
advice.
at a yard sale one day. I was
Yeah.
like, check those things out. I'm buying. They were like 50 cents. I was like, I'm buying those.
yeah, I mean, and Garbage Pail Kids, those things were
yeah.
up there too
Yeah.
for a little. I don't know about where they are now, but I remember people collecting those things.
Yeah,
Y'all remember
collectibles is
Muscle Men? They were little flesh colored rubber men. They came in like a
yeah,
tub.
yeah,
and
yeah.
they were like different ones, and they were. I don't know what you. I don't even know
they
what
were
we
like
did with
wrestlers, weren't
Yeah,
they, or
they-
something
well, they-
like
I
that?
think you stuck them up your butt,
them. Wait, what?
right?
Double A,
You were there?
Triple A.
They were.
This guy's cute.
Muscle was an acronym. Like it was. Like I forget what it even stands for, but
Men
does sound
under.
familiar.
but it was some weird like it was a toy. Like you gotta. They came in a little plastic size of like a McDonald's cup. And like you get like 10 in a cup or something, and they were all different, so you had to like collect them all, of course, kind of like micro machines. Remember
Yeah.
micro
Right,
machines?
yeah.
Well, what was the
Do
was
you
it-
know anything about micro machines? Those
Those
were
are great.
awesome when they came out.
Oh, the guy that
They were Hot Wheels cars, but they were like this big.
what's
You remember those WWF thumb wrestlers, and you would
Oh,
literally
yeah.
stick your thumb up their ass.
Who was the micro machine had the
guy
actor
who
that
talked fast.
speed talking? It was
Yeah.
like da, da, da. But what was the little tough trucks? You put a single AAA battery in it, and it had like foam tires and it's 4-wheel drive.
Oh, yeah, and it
and you
just
just
went
go wherever. But
Also, like key cars. Do you remember key cars?
you squeeze it, and kind of shoots right
had
off.
a key that, and then you stick the key in the back of the car, and it was spring loaded, and you
Yeah.
squeeze the key, and it shot out. It was like a Hot Wheels car.
It's
And there
so
was
funny sitting here. I'm like 2 years younger than Stuart and 2 years older than you.
Yeah.
And like all of those things overlap, but they are
Not in
everything
your
you say.
wheelhouse.
Stuart's like, yeah.
Well, like what's, and the other one was the what was
I'm
the,
pretty
the-
quiet over here.
He remembers none.
and there was the penny cars. Like the little, you
Oh,
put a penny in
yeah.
the back of it, you wind it up, and they would just
So it sounds like cars were a big deal.
They were.
yeah.
I was a big-
everybody
yeah.
had cars. Yeah.
cars
Yeah.
and a
Except
big
for
wheel
that damn
and a big wheel.
Barbie.
Yeah.
Dude, so did anybody? We never answered the original question.
Wait, what was the original question?
About the baseball cards? Who
right,
collected
yeah.
baseball?
Well, I think
are
that's
you,
what it
Are
was.
you sitting on any?
No, not really. It was just one of those things after reading the article. I was like, who collected what when they were little and actually kept on to it? And
I have
what
three
faded?
solid years of 89, 90, and 91 full cards NFL.
Wow.
collectively worth $18.
That's right.
Probably. I just
Probably, yeah, not
and the only
so
one
much.
that you couldn't find was Boomer Esiason.
Yeah.
Like for some reason he was the card
Because it's so weird, like the way they do it now, where it's like it was this one card and this one brand, and
Yeah.
it became too much. Like my son tried to start collecting cards a few years ago, so we did like a couple sets of MLB like 2 years in a row, and I was like, this is too much. It's
I
like,
didn't-
such a
I was
pain
just
to
in it for
try
the
to do
gum.
that. Yeah, the gum was great. Now they don't even do the gum anymore.
My son has bought some like late 80s, early 90s complete unopened.
Oh yeah, I see
Decks.
those on eBay and stuff.
And
yeah.
he's bought them at yard sales for like $5 a piece.
Yeah.
And he wants to get home and open them. I'm like, they're I was like, yeah.
Hold.
I'm like, let me tell you, these aren't worth much now, but if you open them, they are worth absolutely nothing.
All your hopes and dreams
Yeah.
come
Yeah,
crashing
that's
down.
one of those things. Tell him just what does it hurt you to throw it in a closet and never open it?
Yeah,
That's
you
right.
know?
I was like, I'll go buy you some new cards
Yeah.
that you can open and mess around with. But like, you open those, like they have zero value.
That's what I opened everything, but I do remember when you said Star Wars. I worked at Toys R Us when I was in high school when the prequels first released. So they
yeah.
re-released everything, and I'd bought like the main run of action figures and put them in a box somewhere. And I have no idea
Yeah.
where they are.
What are those worth?
Oh wow.
I can't imagine they're worth much, but I know they're in the packaging somewhere in my attic. You know, like just
Yeah.
I put them in there and I was like, oh, I just want to do these. But
I
the
remember
only thing I
I
ever
must have
did.
been in college because for some reason it's popping out of my head. I was working at King's Dominion when the Beanie Baby craze was going on, and like King's Dominion was.
Oh, I
selling
remember you
them.
taking my ticket that time.
Yeah, I would have. All right, pass your keys and anything metallic through the gate, and then come on through. I would
You
say
weren't
that
the
a million times.
Sorry, Lee, you're not high enough to ride this ride.
Honestly,
You're not tall
I
enough
was
to ride
short as
this
shit as
ride.
a kid, so I probably was.
All right, I have to interject. You worked at King's Dominion.
Yeah.
What was your job?
I just told you.
Security.
Oh, security.
Coming
Yeah.
in.
Because I worked at Busch Gardens in high school, and they were definitely like the people that can speak and count money, deal with money,
Yeah.
and everyone else is a ride operator or the war. If you're not attractive, you're a groundsman and you
Yeah.
sweep up the trash,
Cleaning up everything.
And it was a real thing. I worked in a.
So how much trash you pick up?
That's awesome.
You set that one up. Oh, that's
Well
Stu
played,
right
Stu.
there. That's Stu. Good job.
I was
forgot I
well
was supposed to
spoken.
do that.
Troy's like, where are all these lights for?
I actually worked in a French cafe that sold $12 pieces of carrot cake and sodas. It
Nice.
was air conditioned.
Oh, that's pretty
yeah.
smart.
It was the best job. It was connected to France ice cream, which had like a dozen girls from 12 different high schools, and I got to meet so many people. But my whole point
12
of that
girls from
was,
a dozen different high schools.
yeah, pretty much what it was.
You hit for the cycle.
The math checks out.
Weren't we talking about open relationships earlier?
They were not from the same high school.
They didn't know anybody. They didn't have Facebook back then. What the hell are you talking
They
about?
weren't from France.
Foreign
I
exchange students.
worked front gate security the first year, which was brutal. Just standing there in a polyester uniform, just saying the same thing over and over, and telling old granddads they couldn't bring in their nail clippers because they had a little,
yeah.
sharp knife on them. We have to check them. And then, like when we were slow, they'd let me like go work the games, and that was the best because
That is the best.
I'd be on the mic just talking mad shit to all those old guys.
Well,
Like, you can't win this game.
the reason I brought up the story, I was like supposed to be a French chef, so I was wearing the puffy
Oh,
shirt,
nice.
the big hat, these powder blue knickers,
Nice.
and I would get dressed at home and drive 45 minutes to Williamsburg from Tidewater.
They let you take your uniforms home?
You had to.
Dude, at King's Dominion?
You had to wash them.
Dude, at King's Dominion, we had a uniform building. We had a locker room. You walked in, they issued you your uniform, you put it on, you went to work, you left it there, they laundered it, and it was ready for you the next time you went in there.
So much better. Well,
Sounds
anyway,
better.
I was running late for work, and I was coming on an off and on ramp or whatever, and I cut off a state trooper at like 80 in my in my mom's station wagon, and
your
but
French chef outfit.
Yeah.
there you go. So it happened so
That's hilarious.
fast that the cop didn't even have time to monitor my speed or anything, but he pulled me over, and I'm like, oh. Fuck! I don't. One, I don't have time for this. Two, I don't have the money.
I'm all out of carrot cake.
And the state trooper walks up. I literally roll down the
Yeah.
window with
Yeah.
the old handle, and he he walks up to the window, looks at me, and he just shakes his head, and he's like, "Slow it down." And he turned back around, like he was like, "This poor bastard, like what is wrong with this dude?"
I know he didn't buy this station wagon with his own money. Like he's in a world of hurt right now.
I had a similar thing happen with. So
you
you know,
wearing a French chef,
not quite.
and then this cop pulled up.
And then my stepmom,
French maid outfit
then
for
my
Stu.
stepmom got caught in a
So I'm sure you guys
dryer.
powder puff football. Girls are playing
Oh, yeah.
senior year.
Yep.
So me and a couple of guys that we decided
You're going to be the cheerleaders.
we were going to be the cheerleaders.
I know where this is going.
Yeah. So fast forward.
this,
After the game,
You don't have to
after
display
having-
belief to believe this.
Nope.
So it's me and two other guys, and we're all dressed up. We're going out to party afterwards, and I get pulled over, and I'm in full cheerleader skirt that one of my friends had given me, who was on the team.
Wow.
Wigs, balloons, the whole 9 yards, and it's a female cop who walks up, pulls us up, and she just looks at us, and she's like, "You were having a little fun back there in the parking lot," because I pulled out real quick and left a did a donut.
Hey, you did.
And she was like,
He was going to say
she was
skid
like,
mark. He was so close.
skid mark. But yeah,
That's fun.
those are the embarrassing moments. You just remember. You're like, oh, at least she let me go.
Yeah.
So we are at a milestone now. We made it 45
Made it.
minutes.
Did.
We have made
More
it
than
to
that.
the to the deli time.
Do you need a cup, Troy?
I got
Oh, you
one
got
right
one?
here.
All right. So
If,
1, 2,
you.
3,
Who
4.
doesn't want to drink their
Doing
beer?
a little bit of everything out here.
Just pour,
Getting
Probably
drinks.
shouldn't do
This is
that.
great
why are you doing that
producing there,
right
Troy.
over top of
Right
the board?
over the board.
Jesus
Yeah, it's
Christ.
my first time.
All right, so what we got here, Troy? Did you buy this, or
I
did? Okay, you want to lay it out, or you want me to read? What you got?
If you can read it, yeah. Is anything on the can?
Not particularly. It says Master the Surge Pour. Oh, this is a nitro.
Yeah. So it's supposed to have what?
So it says to invert the can 3 times.
So Lee's the only one who can do that now. When all else fails, read the directions.
All right, yeah.
This is limited winter release Firestone Cinnamon Dolce Nitro Stout by Firestone Walker. And it says Cinnamon Dolce Nitro Stout. Welcome to Cinnamon Dolce Nitro Stout, an instant classic made to warm your soul for fall and winter. We reimagined our signature nitro stout into something entirely new and seasonal, accentuating the beer's rich, chocolatey malt character with real cinnamon spice and premium Madagascar vanilla beans. The result is an amazing harmony of flavors that cascade along a smooth, creamy texture. And we did not pour it correctly.
Well, so that's the thing. I'm
No.
reading here on the can. So step 2 is pour hard straight down, which means you can either drink this in one chug, or you have to pour it into a vessel. And then at the last line says, wait, admire, and enjoy.
How long are you supposed to wait?
Indeterminate amount of time.
Dave
was
is
very
2 to 6 days. I don't know.
Dave is back engineered.
Yeah, I'm
He
very happy.
doesn't need to shake it 3
Here's
times.
Here's what you
Pour it
do.
into
You pour it straight down into one solo cup, and then
Yeah,
you take
grab a
that
solo
solo
cup.
cup and you pour it into another solo cup 3 times.
Does it taste different, Stu, one to the other?
Well, I do find it.
It's actually creamier because I took I cracked it and took a sip.
All right, I'll get a couple cups.
So
I
grab
am
a cup.
surprised that
But yeah,
on here's a can. Oh, don't drink it out of this can. You've got to, or you should pour it in.
that should be the
We're
biggest thing on
knocking
the.
that.
I mean,
Yeah,
for
that's-
for this
Here,
beer.
pour that in the yours
yeah,
and
yeah.
mix them up.
So that should be the biggest thing on the box or on the beer is shake 3 times vigorously.
Yeah. So you did say where this was from? Firestone
Walker,
Yeah,
which is
6%.
where? Yeah, I didn't say that. Where's Firestone Walker?
I don't
Does it
recall.
say?
It's on the box. I thought.
Not on the can.
California.
Leave it.
Yeah, it's California.
It's funny that's a fall winter, and
Yeah.
I bought it today.
When
March.
you pulled this out and I saw cinnamon, I was very concerned.
So I grabbed it because again, it all circles back to the amount of work Brendan does. Brendan buys most of the delis, and my memory is shot. I literally don't know. I couldn't tell you what we did 2 weeks ago. So but my visual kind of holds. I can be like, I don't
recognize
familiar.
that. That doesn't look like right.
And this
yeah.
being a funky red can, I was like, this does not look familiar. So I'm guessing we haven't done that yet.
Definitely not.
Paso
you would
Robles,
know.
is that the way you say it? Paso Robles, California. That's where it's saying it's from, the brewery. Just
Yeah.
Paso Robles.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Yeah. It's California. 6% cinnamon. I don't get a ton of cinnamon.
Smells
to be honest.
good.
Yeah. It smells more cinnamony than taste.
So it's cinnamon and vanilla beans is what the can says. So
Yeah.
this will be a very should be flavorful beer. It's very dark, of course, as a nitro stout should be.
This is like, I don't even know if it's a beer. Like all the flavors, everything that's coming through on it.
Coffee.
Yeah, I mean like milkshake almost.
Well, the nitro
Yeah.
makes it that smooth,
Smooth and creamy.
yeah, creamy pour. But yeah, that's a that doesn't taste like beer.
That's yeah.
Like if somebody poured that in if someone nitro
Ice cream
poured it,
float
yeah,
with that.
ooh,
I mean, that's exactly right.
over
Yeah.
some French vanilla ice cream. That sounds pretty tasty.
Some
Yeah, I'll say as a beer, I'm not a fan of it necessarily, but I think that there's a time and a place for it potentially, and I think it's probably the week before Christmas.
Yeah,
Yeah, not
yeah.
March,
not the
10th
first
or
day of
whatever it
daylight
is.
savings.
Yeah, exactly.
When the sun's
Yeah.
out late.
Yeah, anybody?
when you're around the campfire and somebody says, "I don't have any s'mores," you're like, "Well, I got this."
Yeah.
Yeah, anybody?
Don't open it yet.
That is crazy though. It's like 3 times upside down. Pour it straight
Yeah,
out.
but it doesn't have a little. No, it doesn't
Nitro
have one of the
widget?
little widgets in there like the Guinnesses do. So
So they're just telling you to
they
let the
want you to
bubbles
mix-
out.
Like,
It
I'm-
settles,
I'm sure
yeah.
it settles.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because of the nitro. But
Tight.
What do y'all think of the whole like? I'll get this wrong. Whatever we do, daylight saving time or not, like
Oh,
daylight versus standard.
yeah, like so. Are we in standard now?
No,
or
we're
are
in
we-
daylight
daylight
savings. now.
Okay.
yeah.
So we should stay here, right? Like the longer day should always be the freaking answer.
So I've talked about this a lot because I actually like the daylight savings going back and forth. Because think about this. Yes, it would be lighter later in the wintertime, but then it's going to be dark till like 8 o'clock in the morning.
I think I'm okay with that.
Yeah. What about the
there's-
school kids are in
yeah.
school at 7 o'clock in the morning?
That's
My
the-
kids
but
go
that's the
they've
problem.
been going to school for the past 4 months in the dark. Like
Yeah, so I like the dark in the morning for the kids because I hate seeing these elementary kids. Well, granted, mine are older and gone, but they get home at 4:30 and the sun sets
yeah,
at 4:50 and they have no playtime outside. And they,
that's
That's my-
because
that's my-
Chesterfield does stupid shit. By
Well,
having
that's
the-
true.
having
Here's the other
elementary
problem, though, is
kids.
people are going to complain either way. So
Well,
if
that
this,
is
this is like
100%
this is
sure.
something that they can complain about every 6 months, and it takes something else away for them to
Right.
complain
This
about.
is a first world problem.
Oh,
so
well, this
for
will
the
make you happy,
second
Dave.
and
First
third
world problem.
world, we had what's called schools here. So,
Yeah.
we send our kids to school all day, every day.
some countries they will shoot you if you
And
send
by
your
all
daughter
day, I
to
mean
school.
for 6 to 7 hours, and every day, I mean probably about 4 days a week because there's always a holiday. But I don't know. I'm already happier now that the days are longer. Like everybody bitches and whines about the losing the hour. I'm like, it's a freaking hour, dude. Like that's not.
Yeah.
It's not jet lag.
I did know somebody once that thought they lost an hour of sleep every night for 6 months during this time.
Oh my gosh.
When did you break up with her?
It's like suddenly the clocks only have 23 hours on them. Like, I would say the argument against daylight savings time is, like you said, the morning times in the middle or in the wintertime, it would be so dark. And the United States is large enough that there is enough change in light over the latitudes between southern Texas
Yeah.
and Minnesota, say, that it would be a drastic change for people where it would be dark at one time and still very light elsewhere.
Well, like up in Maine, like there, it would be like dark to like 9 a.m. probably, right?
Yeah, and so it's. I think the safety thing comes into it when you talk about kids and
It's
elementary
also
school and all
east
that.
west. Like
Yeah.
I
my
read
dad
that.
lives in the western part of South Carolina, and he's in our time zone. But he gets 30 more minutes of daylight
Yep,
every day
for sure.
than we do.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I like daylight savings because, yes, just like everybody else, I like more light. And I even said it today at 5 p.m. I was
Yeah.
like, man, it feels like it's 2 or 3 because
Yep.
it's so bright outside, but it's 5 o'clock and I got to make dinner and I got other stuff to do and everything.
Yeah.
Gives you something to look forward to, though. Like,
Oh, yeah.
you can look forward to. Like, this is great. Like now we know this is.
I do
spring.
appreciate-
Spring is here.
it does
We're ready
make
to
you
go.
appreciate it for sure.
for sure.
So I actually brought this up at dinner last night. But what if instead of committing to one or the other, what if we just said, okay, we're going to move the clock 30 minutes forward, like instead of the full hour, you do 30 minutes, you split the difference, so to speak, and then it's just that forever. And then it's like you're not taking the full hour; it's only the 30 minutes. But
Well, the problem with that is on my car, I can just hit the hour button once.
I don't have to go
First world problem.
you do it at 12:30, and you just do the hour still.
But is that an
No,
older
it's
car?
30 minutes.
Hey, fuck!
Was that an older car now? Because
My
most
car
everything
is not
updates automatically
my
now.
car is
Yeah.
not hooked up.
It's
to
so
the-
funny you
car
say
doesn't
that
do
because
Yeah, I got old cars.
literally,
too. I'm gonna manually.
I had to today. Oh, sorry.
No, go.
Last story, then we'll
No, keep
do
talking. We always do this.
So, had
When
to
you're on the
replace the-
topic, you keep going.
had to
I was telling you.
had to replace the headlights on my Impala. It's a 2014. So it's the original headlights, and I went to buy new headlight bulbs for them from Napa. And apparently there's some crazy light bulbs. It was like $110 each bulb.
Jeez.
They're HDI, whatever. Anyways, buy the light bulbs, and the guy says, for replacing these, you need to disconnect the battery because you don't want to get shocked because it's got a big whatever. I was like, okay, fine. So the first time ever I disconnect
Flux
the battery.
capacitor.
I've had the car for 7 years or whatever it is now, and get the light bulbs changed out, turn the car back on, and then everything's got to be reset. And I go into settings, and for the first time in the ownership of this car, I saw the button that says, do you want to manually set your clock or you want to have it tied to your Bluetooth cell phone? I was like, fuck. No.
Yeah, you
well, I
could've-
should have done that years ago.
Could've
I would
always
never have
done
to
that.
adjust it when the daylight savings would go off.
That's because any new car now, it automatically, it's just like your phones. Everything updates automatically. So,
Yeah, I was like,
there's a few things like microwave and stove. Like you got to go fix those.
For the first time in my life, I changed the microwave and stove last night
Smart.
before going to bed because every time I wake up in the morning, I'm like, holy shit, it's this time. Like, I'm behind, I'm late, whatever the deal is. So last night I got home, I was like, I'm going to change it now so I don't have to do it.
I'll have to ask the wife because she usually does all that. But our newest microwave
Oh, that might do it. Yeah, 'cause it's
is
brand new.
Wi-Fi.
Yeah. So
Okay,
it might do it
can-
automatically.
Why?
In the oven.
Why?
You know, so when you
Just
need to
everything.
just add 30 seconds from your couch, I don't know. I don't know why you would do it.
I'd buy that.
Can I ask, you had
I did
you
not
had,
buy it.
Dave's all on board.
because of that. It's just what they.
It's so
how
when
they
you're
make
mowing
it.
the grass and you started cooking your meal
The oven
right.
makes sense
and you want to
because you can preheat it like on the way home.
Yeah, I have like Wi-Fi on my grill, and I'm like, let's see what temperature that meat is without
I do.
leaving my chair.
I do
as the
have
youngest
Wi-Fi.
person here, I hate all of you for this shit. Like, I hate. I don't want any of my things connected to anything.
I do
don't
have my
want any
washer
of
and
that.
dryer connected to Wi-Fi, so I get
Why?
Because because you can't hear it. It's in a different part of the house. You can't hear the buzzer.
Oh, sorry, your house is so big.
Yeah.
But yeah, it tells my phone.
You don't want
it's
your
done.
dry clothes sitting there for an extra
That's
10
right.
minutes.
Actually, you don't want your wet
Sometimes when the
clothes.
weather goes home, the clothes are still in the dryer.
That's right.
Yeah.
You can't run the dryer when you're not there. So
You don't want your maid to
there.
not know that it's no like. Lee, we bought new appliances and they're not
I know.
not
It's
high
hard-
end.
it's
It
hard
just
to
comes
find
with
them.
it. It just comes with it, and it's believe me, it functions without it. We haven't used it.
Yeah.
you still have to physically go in and hit the button.
Is that like a new young person thing that you're against technology now?
No, I very much embrace technology on a lot of things. I've just never understood the need to have your oven, your refrigerator, your washer and dryer hooked up to your internet, and there's no logical reason to do this. It only is going to slow down your internet and your access to other things. It's only going to give you more heartache and headache. If you try to, good luck ever having to replace
But
that
then the
thing.
internet
Like, you're
companies,
fucked. Like,
you got to pay for that extra bandwidth.
exactly. It's
all
We
money.
didn't actually pay for the bandwidth. We actually, well,
He steals it from his neighbor.
no, we upgraded our router just to cover the entire house.
well,
Well, it's like a fridge that has a camera in it or a touch screen
Yeah.
that you can see inside
why?
of it.
I
It's
don't-
like that's unnecessary.
And this sounds so dumb too, but like the reason I keep my 2013 pickup truck with 260,000 miles on it is because it is easy enough to fix things,
Yeah.
and it's not so technologically advanced that I'm like, well, this
You
thing
need to go
broke.
to a
I can't.
special school
This
to
screen
repair
no
it,
longer
yeah.
works. Like if I have a dashboard that is a digital screen and that breaks,
You're humped.
what do I do?
Yeah.
You know,
I thought you were going to say it was for the seatbelt. I know people will keep those older cars so that the seatbelt doesn't just keep dinging until
Yeah,
you
yeah,
finally
it
put it
dings the
on.
hell out of it. But like the with all of those Internet of Things,
Now we should
things,
all have
it's-
one car though that would survive a electric blast. You know, something that's
Yeah.
carbureted, something that doesn't have all the electronics in case there's
Like
a
an EMP.
yeah. Just
The problem is even our 10 and 15-year-old cars have computers and stuff in them. Like they can,
yeah.
they
Mine-
can still
mine
do
very
all
much
kinds
does,
of
but-
crazy stuff like that you don't even know about. Like
For sure.
I listen to all these true crime podcasts and they'll be like, Yeah, so we went into the, pickup truck's computer and we saw that it started at 1:18 in the morning. And it's like,
Yeah, there's
who thinks your car does that? But your car's watching all of that. Like, it's crazy.
I think for me, like there's plenty that I know happens in the background that I don't have, that I just accept and live with, and it is what it is. But I'm not going to willingly choose to bring in the Wi-Fi connected range.
Oh, I'm with
and
you.
it's like, and I know, to your point, it's hard to find things that aren't that at this point.
So in other words, Lee has plotted a murder.
No.
done it.
I definitely didn't kill that guy. I was on my microwave at 1:18 in the morning.
Well, it's funny to think
Check
about
it,
cars too, like, because what is the rule to be an antique car? 25 years?
Yeah, it's 25 years.
25 years. So, like, cars now that were built, like, in what is that, 97, 98? Or now,
Yeah.
Before that, are
98.
antiques now.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah,
that
yeah.
is
No, I
wild.
see some of my like favorite high school cars.
Like the
And
Honda
they-
Civic
and they have-
CRX that
and they
everybody
got an
had is an
antique tag
antique
on it, and I'm
now.
like, what?
Yeah, you're antiques too.
Isn't it crazy? Like when I was in high school, a 12-year-old car was fucking ancient.
Oh, yeah.
And now I don't have a car that's newer than 12 years old.
I tell people all the time, my first car was 9 years old with 88,000 miles on it. And that thing was an absolute turd and broke
Right.
down the first night I took it out. Like, now if you bought a 9-year-old car with 80,000 miles on it, you'd be like, this thing ain't
Hold!
even broken in. Hold! No!
Dude, my first car was awesome. It was a 1983 GMC Jimmy that was like baby blue.
Oh,
And
man.
we drove that thing all through high school and college and just tore the heck out of that.
S10 or K5?
I think it was the S10. It was a 2-door. But we would take it mudding, like it was
know what I'm
great.
talking about.
Yeah.
I remember, like in college, one time we all got drunk and started kicking the door in. The cop stopped us, like, "It's my car," and he's like, "All right, if you want to kick your door in, like, go for it.
Go for it,
But that thing
friend.
was a beast. It lasted forever.
So how's this deli working out?
Yeah, I was getting to that.
We're drinking a deli right now.
So,
What happened?
we have 5 people here, which
Yeah,
is
anybody
going to be interesting.
Got something they want to start with?
I'll start. I mean, we kind of hit on the big ticket topics here, but there ain't, I mean, you can taste the cinnamon, you can taste the vanilla. It's tasty. It's definitely a wintry beer. Does not feel right drinking in the spring and in the summer, but it doesn't taste like a beer, but it's still good at the same time. It's above average, but to me, it's not much above average. I can't imagine drinking a whole bunch of those, but I could definitely see, like, to Lee's point, a week before Christmas, you're sitting in front of the fire, you're looking at your tree that's, decorated, and there's some presents under there, like, grab one of those and then kick back and enjoy. Or to Stu's point, you already had 3 s'mores and you feel like you're going to vomit, but you still want to keep the party going, drink one of these. I'll give it a 3. It's a good beer. If you don't like vanilla, you don't like stouts, you don't like cinnamon, you're not going to like this, but
Yeah.
it's a serviceable drink. And for Dave, our finicky price guy here, it's about the cost of a microbrew, $2 a beer, $12 a 6-pack.
It's important to know.
He's fiscally conservative.
Yeah.
I'll go next because I don't find this beer very, very good at all. All the taste seems to go to the back of my tongue. Like nothing's on the front end at all. It's all just sitting back there. I taste a little bit of cinnamon, but it's super bland. I don't really get a lot of as much flavor. I get a little bit of the cinnamon. I don't really taste the vanilla at all, and it's just average to me. So I'm going with the 2.
Wow. Right.
All right. Who wants
So-
next?
I'll go.
Go ahead.
So I'm not a stout guy. I appreciate
You're
stout.
kind of stout.
Well, that's true. Actually, I'm portly.
He's sitting down. He's sitting down.
I would have gone with handsome, but
Yeah.
The beard helps.
That's what my mom says to me.
Such a handsome young boy.
Yep. All the other kids are jealous.
those 12 girls at the French ice cream place, they were just mean.
That was a lifetime. I think this is a good beer, but I'm not a stout guy. So I get the flavors that they have in it. But I feel like with a deli, it's like, are you going to drink multiple versions of this? I will never drink multiples of these.
Yeah.
In fact, if I've got other beers available and someone's like, put that down and drink this, I'll politely decline.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
I think I have to go with Troy on this. It's a 3 because it is a good beer, but it's just not. It's not my style, and it's not something that I'm going to buy a bunch of.
Yeah. So I'll tell you, I agree with wouldn't drink more than one. I do like all the flavors. I can taste every one that they're saying is there. It's creamy. I like the fact that it's not on the heavy side of the ABV. I mean, it's 6% for a stout. That's pretty nice.
Yeah. It's not.
like-
Yeah, it doesn't taste boozy.
Yeah, it doesn't taste boozy. It's not my, it's not necessarily my calling. Like I would love to see, I would like to walk into a Sweet Frog with my kids and they can get ice cream and I could have this. Have the one, sit there, and that's it. That's like kind of the one and done. But I'm
I
going
think
to
Lee
be.
said it. Put that over some ice cream.
Yeah,
That's
like a
right.
float,
Or did Lee
basically,
Adam say
yeah.
that? One of y'all said somebody across the bar.
Yeah, so the can is a can. It doesn't get any marketing points because you should shake it 3 times apparently. So
And you got to have a second vessel to pour it in. Kind of
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
Like that's not why you buy a can of beer.
I'm definitely, but for what it is, somebody's gonna like it. I'm gonna give it a 3 because I actually can drink this.
Yeah. So I've struggled with this one because I've gone back and forth. I like a stout. I like nitros typically. I like winter spiced ales in the wintertime.
Yeah.
This kind of leans in that direction. But I don't taste the cinnamon at all. I don't get any of that. I get much more of the vanilla. It is very creamy, which is nice. It does have pretty good flavor overall. I'm very much in the camp of this may be the only one of this that I will ever drink in my entire life.
Yeah.
And
That bad.
no, not bad.
It
It's
doesn't
just-
help that the window for it is like 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Like at least you're drinking your land shark or whatever, and you're like, that's 3 months of the year I can crush some of those.
Yeah.
Like this is like just a few
Yeah.
weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are people that will look for this anytime it's cold, and so you could say the same argument about like a land shark in the summer or whatever. Like, I think that this has its place in a winter rotation if you like stouts, if you like the cinnamon flavor that everybody else gets that I don't.
It does smell more cinnamon.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it definitely smells. You get the smell of cinnamon. You don't get the taste of it. To me, I'll go. I've been going back and forth between like 2.5 and 3, and I feel like I got to lean to 2.5 because it's very much right down the middle of the road for me. I think it's okay. I don't think it's great. I'm not seeking it out. I'm not going to find it again. If somebody gave one to me, I would drink it. But
Lee, are there other stouts that you give 3s and 3.5s to?
no, because I like stouts. Like I would go, I would like a Guinness. I like stouts, the Hardywood gingerbread stout. Like,
Gingerbread, yeah.
I think those are great. I feel like stouts for me are very divisive. I either like them very much or I don't like them at all. And this one, like I said, is just kind of sits in the middle. I can't find a home for it. I don't know what the deal is.
Well, this is pretty fitting because it's a 2.7 collectively, which is right there, just slightly above average, and I think that's where
I think that's fair.
it's going
for
to
this.
net. Yeah, I mean,
Like this is something like if you had a Christmas party and you wanted to have everybody
Throw
have
a
one
few of
beer,
those on.
like say, hey, here's something new.
Yeah.
Here's this with some vanilla wafers and some ice cream and
If you're
drink,
roasting
like-
chestnuts on an open fire.
there you go.
However, St. Patty's Day is today when
Yes.
this is
Yeah.
released.
Yeah.
That's right.
So
know
would
if
this
this
work
is-
then?
Yeah, I was gonna say this isn't the one you're
No.
reaching for in mid March. I don't think.
Definitely.
You know what I noticed that they're doing this year that I don't recall them doing in years past? So Virginia Richmond gets after St. Patrick's Day.
Big time.
I would not think we're a big Irish community, but we've always had multiple Irish things, and they're usually on separate weekends. But this year,
Same day.
it's
All
the
of it.
same weekend, which you would think would be detrimental, right? Because I know people that go to both. They would go to Shamrock the Block and Churchill Irish Festival. So what's the
and
what's the,
Cheney's doing their own thing too.
well, they always
do that.
have.
But
This-
no, with like 5 other restaurants.
Yeah,
But
they
it's
always
They
like
block.
had a block party this weekend.
In the rain.
This weekend?
It was supposed to be on Saturday.
Yeah.
I worked right down there and walked past, and their little street on the side.
So
was
the only
closed
thing
off.
I could figure out was, as this comes out last weekend, was the half marathon, and I was thinking maybe they couldn't get it permitted because so many police were running traffic and they blocked off Huguenot Bridge and all that stuff. But like, it just seems weird that they're not stretching it out over a couple weeks. I mean, this weekend would have sucked, obviously.
Yeah.
So, or last weekend would have sucked for the
all
weather.
all the rain. Yeah.
But then again, it's supposed to rain.
Yeah, because
A little bit next Saturday.
Yeah.
Because last year's St. Patrick's Day was on a Friday, and they had weekends booking stuff. This year it's on a Sunday, but
Yeah, I don't know.
Do y'all go to these things?
so last year my brother went to the Shamrock the Block when it was down on Boulevard.
Yeah.
It's been there
And-
for
Yeah,
I've
but
yet
he
to
said
go
he
to
went
that
down
one.
there and he said it was a complete disaster as far as trying to get a beer. It was the lines were super super long. They weren't prepared for the number of people that came, whatever it was. But I've always gone to the Churchill one's gotten better and better, and I've even taken my kids up there one time.
Oh, that
It's
one's
not that
totally
bad.
family friendly. Like you can take your kids, and I usually do.
And it's all weekend too. It's not
Yeah,
like one day.
Saturday and Sunday.
honestly, when they moved it out of the bottom and took all the debauchery out, I stopped going.
Yeah.
like that was really what I was in for. So yeah,
It was Shamrock. So Shamrock the Block was in the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
down
and
by,
it was a. I think it's still debaucherous up on
it probably is.
now that Scott's Edition is a thing.
I don't
I
know
mean,
by any means.
Way
yeah.
less hookers though.
yeah, it's probably less stabby up on the boulevard.
Probably.
Yeah, I
That's
actually,
why I don't go.
Yeah, you're pro stabby
and
events. Pro hookers.
yeah, when I
Stabby
actually
hookers are really where it's
No, you stab the hookers.
When you're done.
with your meat sword.
when you're driving your 1974 Chevy that can't be traced.
Yeah,
No computer. We're good to go.
yeah, when I haven't been since they've been on the boulevard.
don't vouch for Dave
yeah,
when
me
he
neither.
asks
Yeah,
you
no,
to.
clearly.
I was hanging out with you last week in Troy.
Oh, so you were an accessory to that?
yeah.
No,
No,
it was wild back then, and I like I said, I haven't gone since they moved. Gosh, what 5-10 years ago they've been up on the boulevard. I haven't been to that
No, it
one.
hasn't been a decade.
It's been a while.
Actually, the real question is, how old are your kids?
Yeah, about that time.
It's probably been 7 or 8 years
Yeah.
on the boulevard, and they took a year off. I think technically somewhere in there.
COVID, I think.
COVID
squashed
probably,
it.
yeah.
I think between when it was in the bottom and when they moved it, I think
Yeah.
they might have taken a year there. But yeah, the bottom was an interesting experience to
Yes,
say the
it was.
least. And I imagine that
way more bars down there.
that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like to me,
That's where it should
to
be.
your point about like having a hard time getting a beer, like being where there is more restaurants and more bars
Yeah.
is more beneficial. And when you're on the boulevard, and for those who aren't here in Richmond, it's a 4-lane road with a median in the middle,
Yeah.
and there's a couple of restaurants, but they close off one end of it and they close off the other end,
Yeah.
and you just got to be there.
Yeah.
And now there are breweries within 3 or 4 blocks, and there's stuff close
Yeah.
by, but if you people are going to always find a way to celebrate
But we're
for
the-
St. Patrick's Day, you know.
Now on our festivals, we do like rope off things that you can walk around the festival, but Richmond is not the city that allows you to open carry.
Yeah.
So like you can't walk out of the festival
Yeah.
4 blocks and grab a beer
Yeah.
and walk back, which that would be cool.
Yeah, that'd make it a lot
That would
better.
help.
Yeah.
And I think Scott's Edition has been trying to petition to be an open beverage
For those down in the
area.
area, Scott's Edition 20 years ago when I was living in the city, you didn't even want to drive through, much less live there and or walk through it.
Yeah.
Now it is the mecca of all beer
Apartments.
and young people.
Yeah, for
like
sure.
restaurants, I mean, a dozen breweries over there maybe.
But Churchill was the same way 30 years ago.
Well, there's a lot of parts of Richmond that have made such a transformation
Yeah.
since in
But
my
Churchill
lifetime. Like,
back in the day and always really there's been always been some old money parts of it. Like,
True.
I mean, where you couldn't
But
even
it's gotten bigger.
buy a house.
Churchill's they've expanded with their
Yeah.
renovations so much
Yes.
bigger. It's like,
the word's gentrification, I think is
Yeah.
what you're looking for.
I think Scott's Edition, you have to give all credit to the Veil. I'm serious. Those guys
They were
went
one of
in
the
there.
first, yeah.
They were the first.
Yeah.
And then within 6 months, everyone's like, this is a great idea. And that's
Ardent
when-
was over there pretty.
not in Scott's Edition, though.
Yeah.
Oh, they weren't?
Yeah, Ardent and what's the one that closed 2 years ago? The one that made the peanut butter porter.
Oh, the
Choosy Mother.
Choosy Mother.
Those guys were in there before
St.
Vale
Isley?
was. Yeah, Isley, not
Isley
St. Isley.
Brewery,
Yeah.
yeah.
Those guys were in Scott's Edition before Vale was.
Yeah.
Hardywood obviously opened up, quote, air quote, Scott's Edition. It's
Yeah.
in a different portion, but like they really did open the door. And Isley was not long, or Vale was not long behind them by any means. But yeah, once the breweries kind of went in, and it made sense for them.
Yeah.
A brewery, I need a warehouse, I need a big space, I need space to brew, I need
That's
space to
cheap.
host somebody, and cheap. And it was cheap as hell.
Yeah.
And they were giving huge tax credits at the time. It
Oh,
made
yeah.
sense to do it.
But yeah, to your point, now there's like condos and apartments.
Every block's got a 7-story
well,
apartment.
the back end of that is in the last, I'd say 3.5 years, I probably have helped clients sold or helped them buy houses because they were renting, buy houses in Lakeside because there were couples not families, but couples mainly that were living in Scott's Addition, and they'd been there for like 2 or 3 years. Yeah. And like, I'm tired of not having parking in the summer. I'm tired of 3 a.m., but I like the area. And then now Lakeside is
close
the
enough.
booming.
Yeah.
It's kind of redoing
Which
there.
40 and 50 years ago, Lakeside was the happening spot. And they've actually done.
Yeah, they rent around.
Because we go to the brewery over
Final
there.
Gravity.
Final Gravity.
Yeah.
They've renovated that whole space.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It is. Richmond has a very interesting history with where people have chosen to live and where people have chosen to invest money in, and it's very cyclical. And it starts in one area and it spreads west, and then it fluctuates right back. And they say, all right, well, shit, everybody that has wealth and money moves to the West End or Bon Air or whatever else, and now their kids want fun, cool things to do, and guess what? The apartments are cheap in the city, and they live there, and they build that wealth.
So since we were talking about breweries, I'm just going to do a quick plug because I'm a big fan of Kindred Spirit. They're my people. Pick up some shifts there every once in a while. But they opened up a new location for local Richmonders. If you remember where Castleberg Brewery used to be, they went out of business about 9 months ago, and Kindred took it over.
Near the original Hardywood.
Hardywood and Main Line's right there. It's Owen B. Lane, but
near the SPCA and the Diamond and all that stuff.
Yeah, back there, Hermitage Road. But they called it Satellite by Kindred Spirit. If you get a chance, they just opened up. Go check them out. Same beers, different
talk
vibe.
about the concept, Stu, because it sounds really cool.
So, Kindred Spirit has they've been around for almost 8 years now. They have a good brand, Kindred Spirit. Everybody knows Headspace. I mean, if you're local to Richmond, it's Headspace, a few other beers. But they went in there and they're like, well, what do we want to name this? Do we need to name it something different to attract more people? And they said, no, we're just going to go with it. It's our satellite location. So they named it Satellite by Kindred Spirit. The interior of the place, they redid it completely, and it's all space themed. So there's TVs that make it feel like you're looking out from a spaceship. There's TVs in the ceiling. Dave's got a phone call, they got dartboards, live bands, the whole 9 yards. But they did a nice LED job with the bar and ceiling lights, and they can even, if they're hosting, let's say JMU watch party or VCU watch party, they can change the lights to match the team colors for events like that.
Sounds pretty cool.
One of the things they should do, like, if anybody's into the like Comic-Con or Space or whatever, GalaxyCon is happening this weekend, Satellite's going to be a great place.
I don't know if any nerds listen to this, but yeah, if we do that,
highly unlikely.
Reach out.
Just marketing.
Yeah.
That's right.
The other cool thing about Kindred Spirit's new location is they somehow obtained a brewer from Triple Crossing.
Oh, nice.
So she's in there, and then they also have another, I guess, assistant brewer who did some stuff for James River Brewing, and they got equipment from Castleberg in that location, which is completely different than the equipment that's in the Goochland location.
Nice.
And so it's almost like, I don't remember the stats, but it's like Goochland has 40,000 barrel capacity, and the one that they just bought or that they moved into has like 200 barrel.
Wow.
That's a big difference.
It's a lot smaller. They'll be able to do like one-offs.
Yeah, so they're going to do a bunch of one-offs, and it's going to be experimental. And if it picks up really well, they'll move it to the factory.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
it's kind of cool if you're a beer nerd. Head in there, and they're probably going to have some different things in the next few months.
Yeah, I mean, to Stu's point, the Headspace is like one of the most popular. And what's the light Headspace that's even better?
So right now it's called Spirit Lager.
The lighter
light
Headspace.
Headspace.
That's called Little Headspace.
Yeah, that.
Oh, I thought
that's
you were talking
what
about
I'm
Light
asking
Lager.
for,
Yeah, Little Headspace is. Sorry, I didn't hear you. It's not working. My headset.
Who was confused other than the guy that works there?
Little Headspace is on tap right now.
That's amazing.
So's
beer.
Headspace, and you should try out. It's on tap now. Spacehead, which is the same ingredients as Headspace, but it's a reversed ratio. So Headspace is 70% Mosaic and 30% Citra. Spacehead's the exact opposite. So that's good.
Got any cinnamon beers?
Not right now. No. Cinco's on tap if you like a good Mexican lager. They got a New Zealand Pilsner on tap.
That
West
is
Creek
cool.
Lager. They got a couple
Kindred
different
does
things.
a lot of funky, weird. They throw a lot of stuff against the wall, and a lot of it sticks. But they do it. They do it in cycles and stuff.
I think I was going to ask you whether they're brewing anything in the former Castleberg location, but it's neat to know that it's a smaller setup, so they could be a little more experimental if they wanted to.
Right.
Yeah.
And the place I'm thinking of that also does that is Center of the Universe. They've got the little Origin Beer Lab in Ashland, and theirs is the same kind of a similar setup where, hey, this is a smaller spot. We're just trying stuff out, see how it works.
Yeah.
And that's a neat setup too.
Do they have a second location or no?
Yeah, so they're
The main one's in Ashland.
and then they have in downtown Ashland, right on Center Street.
Oh, okay.
They've got one that's called Origin Beer Lab,
didn't
and
know
it's
that.
the same setup. But I think that's a really cool endeavor. If Kindred Spirits is being like, hey, we'll try out some small brews and see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean not to get too technical, but the actual facility itself for brewing very large amounts or even the small amounts, it's not there. So it's going to be like, just let's test the waters and see what we can do.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they'd have to do some very serious retrofitting to do any.
So was Castleberg not making stuff on site?
Oh, well, they were, but we'll just leave it at that. It's a city of Richmond. You can get away with a lot.
There you go.
Interesting. Well, I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, definitely.
Because, we need more breweries.
Yeah, we don't have enough.
Well, it's funny. Like when people move on the real estate side, when people would move into Richmond,
People
coming
care.
coming from out of town, they're like, "What's Richmond like? I've never been here before. I'm moving here for work." And I'm like,
Food and
literally,
beer.
we're a small Austin without the music scene. We got the beer, we got
Yeah.
the food, we got the artwork. We just don't have.
Yeah, we don't
Bands.
have good music.
Yeah,
We're a B market.
Venues,
We're not going to get the venue like that.
that's right.
But
Yeah, the
they did-
National's like the only place that has any decent music anymore.
yeah, I mean,
Because the Coliseum's closed, so we can't have any legit acts. And
They're building the amphitheater out on the river, which will help.
yeah.
the Siegel Center used to do music.
Well, they hosted the A10 women's conference, A10 conference in basketball. The
At the
women's
new
played
facility.
at the Henrico Sports Complex.
Oh.
That was being played, but like even the
Did you see it though?
the camera angles, like it's like a upscale high school
Yeah.
venue. I was like, well,
I mean, it's a brand new facility. It looks beautiful from the outside. I work over in the area. It's they've ripped down half of Virginia Center Commons, and that's where it is. But I saw it on TV, and it looks like a glorified
Yeah,
the
'cause
Siegel Center is way bigger than this
yeah,
place.
because they pan because.
It looks like the tournaments you see where they're in like a ballroom. Yeah. It's like the preseason tournament and they're in the
Yeah.
Bahamas
Yeah.
and they're playing in like a hotel ballroom. Kind of looks like a nicer version of that.
Yeah, I was at the Siegel Center. Was it Friday? And shout out to my daughter's high school. She's not on the team, but Manchester girls won the state high school championship.
Very nice.
We were down there watching a couple
Nice.
of high school games for
Manchester?
Yeah, Manchester girls.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I knew James River was playing over there too. I didn't know
Yeah.
if they won or not.
Yeah, I think it's a different.
Yeah,
I think
different
I think it's
class.
5A and 6A.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know Manchester got there too. That's pretty cool.
it was fun. So, but yeah, the Siegel Center's it's good shit.
Yeah, the Siegel Center used to do some dope concerts there when they first opened back in 2000. But I was talking to the guy that runs the place, and he was like, the juice ain't worth the squeeze, which is crazy because I know other colleges that have similar size arenas. They have concerts all the time. ODU, Christopher Newport, they have stuff all the time in their
But they don't have a city.
which
But
it should be better.
well, I guess, but I mean, you're talking about it's a
Talking
little bit
like an
easier
urban campus
organization.
Parking and
like a-
logistics.
Yeah.
And police and everything.
That's my thought.
There's more people in a city, so you think
Oh, maybe ticket sales, but like logistically, manpower,
Yeah, I
handling
mean,
everything, and the aftermath. after
obviously a
con-
lot
who knows,
goes into
but-
it, but I mean, I saw bare naked ladies there, 311, Dave Matthews was there doing a political concert
Yeah.
thing. I saw him there. I saw I think Busta Rhymes was there. I saw legit acts back. I mean, this is when these acts were in their prime 20
Yeah.
years ago. And now they just don't do it.
Richmond just does not get the music scene. It just does not happen here.
No.
It's a shame.
It's downside
The
of
net-
being so close to DC and Raleigh
Virginia
and
Beach
Charlotte and Virginia
yeah.
Beach and
Virginia Beach gets all the big acts or DC for
Big
sure. Hopefully we'll tear the Coliseum down soon enough. I mean, I saw some awesome acts there back in the day.
Oh, I remember seeing Metallica there. That was fun.
Saw Garth Brooks there before it shut
Yeah.
down, right before it shut down. It was awesome.
Are you talking about Hampton?
No, here.
Coliseum here.
Yeah, believe it or not, acts used to come here, but
It's been a while.
My first concert at Hampton though was it was in '88, but it was still the tail end of the '87 Joshua Tree tour. That was my first concert at Hampton Coliseum.
the National's a great venue. It's just not big.
it's just small.
No,
yeah.
it's not very big at all.
but I highly recommend going if you've never been.
If you
to a show
get the
there.
right act, or if you like certain types of music, but the Beacon Theater is actually a really cool small
Yes,
venue.
yeah.
Like
I've
for
never been
small
there.
acts down in Hopewell. I mean, it's a
From what I understand, it's beautiful too.
Yeah. I mean, it's old. You get artists like on their B tour, like their second round, they're older, or you get some country acts, but just like there's not a bad seat in the house.
So Stewart saw a Motley Crue there.
That's
Ooh,
right.
nice.
No, they saw the cover band. Yeah. Well, that's what's happening to, this gets really local, but River City Sports Complex, they have their summer concert series.
Yeah.
And like there's a Beatles cover band, Fleetwood Mac cover band.
I might go to that Fleetwood Mac.
A couple other cover bands are playing there, and then they have like a few country acts, but
Meadow Event Park's killing it out there.
Yeah,
in
but
the country scene.
I love the fact that I love the acts. The venue is big and it gives you a lot of space.
It's in the
But
middle of nowhere.
goddamn, if I want to get on 95 after everybody's been partying their ass
Yeah.
off and driving home 40 minutes with. So the last 2 times I've been up there, we got people to go together and rented a little small bus.
Yeah.
Or you Uber because, I mean, that's
Yeah.
just
Not worth it.
It's
It's a nightmare.
yeah.
I saw an ad for a Beastie Boys cover band that apparently is really famous.
Interesting.
I think they're called Check Your Head. And I listened to one of their videos and I'm like, this sounds like myself and 2 other guys drunk.
Oh, so
But they're like they're selling tickets left and right. I'm like, who the fuck is going to this?
Right.
It's awful. It sounds like
wild.
Beastie Boy karaoke.
yeah.
It's the worst. So now I've kind of lost I haven't gone to many cover bands, but I'm kind of like, is that just karaoke? Really?
Yeah.
It's been 37 years since they
I know-
came out with License to Ill.
I know 20 years ago when I was living downtown, and Dave Matthews was huge, and he had like a bunch of different cover bands that would come through town. And it was great because you could go for $5, you could go to the Canal Club and see them, and they almost sounded just like them. Like for $5, you're standing. You got it.
Of all things,
That's
I didn't do that.
you sound like Dave Matthews doing Eddie Vedder.
There you go. Yep. Dave Matthews doing lip sync.
Yeah. But yeah, it was like for $5 you go see a cover band, and you're like, this is awesome. Because again, to go see a band you like, you tend to have to
Travel.
Yeah.
So before we get too far along into getting close to shutting down, I just want to give a shout out back to Brennan and tell him thank you for including me on this, because I'll tell people that I'm doing a podcast every once in a while. And for a good stint there, I was pretty regular. Life happens. You don't get in here.
He gets a discount from hookers.
But I was, I tell people, I do a podcast with my buddy and his buddy, and it's great. And they're like, oh, tell us about it. And I tell them, and they're like, oh, we'll listen, whatever. And I tell people, it's a great podcast. But the reality of it is Brendan, who leads everything and brings us in or lets everybody else in who wants to hang out. As fun as it is, the listeners enjoy it, but it's cathartic for us that get to sit here and talk about it. It's like your
For sure.
daily therapy session, and you don't have a therapist. You don't have to pay for it. You just come here and shoot the shit and say, I'm good. Here's what we're talking about. And then, breaking a fourth wall, the stuff that happens beforehand and the conversation that happen afterwards, all life lessons and all, you get a different opinion from everybody about what you're going through and all that good stuff. So that's what I appreciate about it. And Brendan, thanks for including me. And that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for bringing it up. We are about to wrap it up. So, again, I think we're all better for knowing Brendan. He's a great person, a great friend. We're all lucky to call him a friend. He would do anything for us. And I can't really say enough great things about the man. He is obviously missed. This podcast is not going to be our best. I think we held our own, guys. I think we can hang our hat on and be proud. But if Brendan were here, it would obviously be better. So he is missed. I hope he... I know he's not enjoying his time as we record this.
Troy's telling the listeners, tune in next week. It'll be better, I swear.
It's just an off week.
Yeah.
Get better.
This will be the
Or
most.
maybe you like it without Brendan.
This will be the most downloaded
Oh, yeah.
podcast ever.
This will be the bye week episode.
Yeah, exactly.
China.
There goes the hits.
Download just went up.
If you like it more, send us some Venmo money at Inside the Pallet House.
Did he leave us any Malort that we should all be drinking before
No,
in his
no.
absence?
No.
The bottle's empty.
Yep.
Unfortunately.
Oh, there's more bottles.
gonna say,
There.
Just needs to replace it.
There's never time without my Lord here. But yeah, I think we did a good job, guys.
Shout out to Troy. Shout out to Troy for holding
Great
down
job,
the
Troy.
production board. And
I tried.
I'm sure he's sweating all the way through.
I'm back. For a while, I was looking away from the board. Now that we're ending, I'm back zeroed in on the board here. Let's
Is
see
it still
this.
recording?
Yeah, it still works.
There it is.
Totally forgot to use those. Stu reached over and hit a couple of them. See, Brendan does a lot here, guys. We don't even know.
We don't even know what he
No,
does
we
sometimes.
really don't. We really don't.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
nice to know that it can be done without him. I'd like to not do it again without him, but it can be done.
I feel like you probably should have just said no to this, because now he's going to be like,
yeah.
I'm going on vacation. I'll be gone for a month.
I don't feel like doing this.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Troy, you got it, right?
Yeah.
It's like when you volunteer at work to help out. They're like, guess what? You're on a new team. You're leading everything.
That's right.
Yeah, it's like when at work they're like, if you could just handle this for a month or two, and then like 5 months in, they're like, well, we don't need to hire anybody because you're handling it.
That's right.
You've got a CDL? Great. You're our guy.
Yeah.
Nah,
I didn't even think about that.
you're dumb, dude.
I'm gonna be hitting that special text stuff we just created with all of us B podcasters.
That's right.
New number. Who's
The
the
B squad.
Yeah, yeah. New number. Who it is? Yeah, I can see that coming.
Yeah.
I do appreciate you coming out, Lee. It was nice that all of you came out, but Lee hadn't been here in a minute, so it was very nice that he came out. Ely said he would come out, but Ely,
Love
wanna
you.
say anything?
anything, Dad?
Are you at Disney again? I assume. I don't know. But thanks
He's
again,
a big
guys.
Disney guy.
Huh?
Is he a big Disney guy? I didn't know that.
By proxy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Forced into
he
it.
has to be.
Noted.
So
Okay.
where does Stu say peace out with no
Without the
outro
music.
music?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
How are we going to do the outro?
He said post production.
Yeah, but then I have
You
to
gotta
say,
time it.
everybody has to say
You gotta
their
time it.
sayings and
You know what? Let's just hang up.
yeah.
Don't do it.
Say goodbye.
Just a hard
Stuart never gives good advice.
Appreciate it. Thanks for listening.
Well,
Venmo. Catch
I think we've
Jimmy on Screen Door Mortgage.
Yeah, I think we've all given Brendan enough love. So let's just finalize everything with a couple things. Obviously, buy your nectars. Use the Abacus code. Save 20%. I think everybody here is a huge fan of nectars, and will tell you
For sure.
you cannot beat the style and the price.
And if you want to Venmo inside the Pallet House, where are we looking
At
at?
Inside the Pallet House on Venmo. Also, for those M4K guys that listen, we do have our, we're bringing back the M4K Grander Lunch. Huge thing. Excited for that to come back. Look in your email. Sometimes it goes to trash. It's on April 23rd, I think 6 o'clock at
Yeah,
night.
this isn't going to be a grander lunch this year. It's going to be more of a grander
Grander
social
dinner.
happy hour
Yeah.
hangout. It's at Bingo Beer in Scott's Edition, 6 to 9, I think, something like that.
Yeah, so look for that. Respond. Let us know you're coming.
please
We'll have all
RSVP.
your pins and all that stuff for everybody who is a grander or 5,000 or 2,500 or 10,000, whatever your grand total was. Actually, was at a kid's birthday party yesterday, and I had my M4K hat on. Dude was like, "Is that an M4K hat? I used to do that." And I was like, "Get your ass back!" Yeah, yeah. He's like, "Yeah, I work." Used to work at a golf course. I was like, "Oh, you know Kiefer? That's how you got involved."
exactly.
Like, if you play golf, you know Kiefer.
Yeah.
So, anyone else want to say anything before we shut this puppy down?
I'll just say thanks for the opportunity. I mean, it's a lot of fun, and shout out to Brendan for putting it all together and bringing all of us together one way or another. Appreciate the hell out of you, bud.
Yeah, man.
Next time, leave the disc.
Yeah, seriously.
Leave the scan disc.
Don't make us sweat. Holy cow, dude.
Well,
I was very close to melting down there. All right. Well, thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you in a week. And
it'll be better.
yeah, it'll be better. Hopefully, Brendan will be back. Cheers, everyone.
Brandon will be back.
Love that guy.
That was a pretty good podcast, don't you think?
I agree.